woman came for her first interview as a caregiver, but the moment she sat down, her skirt suddenly tore. To avoid making things more awkward, she quickly took off her jacket and tied it around her waist. Just as she was secretly relieved that no one had noticed, the lady of the house's husband walked out.
Hello, I'm Stephen Will Clark.
Louisa Clark.
The hostess felt that Louisa was honest and reliable, and decided on the spot to hire her. The job paid well and wasn't difficult. She only needed to keep the paralyzed son company and chat with him. Hearing this, Louisa couldn't hide her excitement. However, she had no idea that she was happy far too early. The first time she met the employer, Louisa was startled by his appearance. It turned out that this well-paid job was nothing like what the hostess had described. Will didn't want anyone taking care of him at all, and several previous applicants had been scared away by him in exactly this way. Louisa didn't want to stay either, but her family situation was too terrible and she had no way out. Her father was unemployed, her mother had to take care of her bedridden grandfather, and her sister still wanted to go to university. All the burden had fallen on Louisa's shoulders, and she had no choice but to grit her teeth and accept this high-paying job. The next day, Louisa arrived on time, but when she got close, she noticed Will's eyes were tightly shut, and no matter how she called him, he didn't respond. She thought it was just another one of his pranks, until the doctor rushed over and she finally realized Will's body couldn't sweat like a normal person's, and even a slight chill could endanger his life. At that moment, Louisa noticed the obvious scars on his wrist. She couldn't understand. With so much money and a life free of worries, why would he still think about ending his life? Until one day, Louisa accidentally overheard Will's parents arguing, and she finally learned that in 6 months, Will would undergo assisted suicide. And it was his own decision. His father chose to respect him, but his mother couldn't accept the outcome.
It's his choice. This is what he wants.
He's my son!
Yes, it's my son too! You know how much pain he's in.
Only then did Louisa understand why the contract was only for 6 months, because that was the countdown of Will's life. After learning the truth, Louisa's heart was in chaos, and she couldn't face someone whose life was nearing its end. She told her sister she wanted to quit, but her sister talked her out of it. Her sister said, "The family situation is very bad right now, and it's not the right time to resign." And not only was the job well paid, she even had a chance to make Will give up his plan to die. Louisa suddenly understood. Maybe her job wasn't just being a caregiver, but the chance to save someone's life.
Good morning. Hi.
Louisa dressed like a vibrant butterfly every time she appeared in front of Will. She wanted to use her own energy to push away his desire to end his life. But reality was far more difficult than she imagined. One day, by chance, she accidentally saw Will's old photos, which unexpectedly struck his fragile pride.
You were just looking at my photographs, thinking how awful it must be to have lived like that and ended up like this. The rest are in the drawer if you'd like to snoop around further.
Not long after, Will's girlfriend and his best friend came to visit. It should have been a joyful moment, but from their words, he learned that the girl he once loved was now with the friend he trusted most. Will tried hard to pretend nothing happened, as if it had nothing to do with him. But once they left, the sound of shattering glass came from his room. Louisa rushed over and found Will had smashed the photo frame onto the floor.
Right, well, you better not move until I've cleaned that up, because I've got no idea what I'd do if you pop a tire.
After work, she told her boyfriend about what happened. She wanted to express the pain her boss was going through, but her boyfriend treated it like a joke, even teasing about how Will would have children in the future. The next day at work, Louisa repaired the photo frame on her own, hoping to give Will a small surprise. But she didn't expect that instead of being happy, Will shot back at her with a series of sharp, cutting remarks.
You don't have to be an arse. Your friends got the shitty treatment, fine, they deserved it. I'm just trying to do my job as best I can.
And what if I said I didn't want you here?
I'm not employed by you. I'm employed by your mother. So unless she says she doesn't want me here anymore, I'm staying. Not because I care about you or particularly enjoy your company, but because I need the money.
This was the first time Louisa talked back to him, and from that moment on, Will began to see her in a new light. He slowly wanted to know everything about her. That night, he took the initiative to invite Louisa to watch a movie with him. The film was wonderful, but Will's attention constantly drifted toward Louisa. When the movie ended, Louisa was still immersed in the story, unable to snap out of it.
But you liked the film?
I loved it.
Will unconsciously smiled. He hadn't expected that she shared the same tastes as he did.
Where did you pick up your exotic taste?
Louisa's dream was to become a fashion designer, but her family's financial situation was too poor, so that dream had to be put aside.
You need to widen your horizons, Clark. You only get one life.
Louisa knew that someone like Will, who had grown up in a wealthy family, wouldn't understand the helplessness of giving up a dream just to survive, so she brushed over it casually. After that day, their relationship quietly began to change. Louisa was no longer as tense as before, and Will finally showed smiles he hadn't shown in a long time. All of this was noticed by his mother. She even began to believe that maybe this girl could really change her son's fate. Even the doctor said Louisa was the first person who could make Will smile so often. But Louisa still didn't know that Will's condition was worsening. As the weather grew colder, Will fell ill again. That night, Louisa didn't go home. She stayed specifically to take care of Will, who had a fever. When she had a moment to rest, she watched his old videos, all showing him in his youth, full of life, appearing in every kind of sport imaginable, until that speeding motorcycle completely changed the course of his life. The wealthy man got into an accident, and his legs could never stand again. The overwhelming blow made him decide he would undergo euthanasia in 6 months. To change his mind, Louisa tried every method she could think of, yet she still couldn't shake her boss's decision. The next day, with a just-try-it attitude, she went to see Will's parents, and to her complete surprise, when they heard that Louisa wanted to help Will make a bucket list, they actually agreed.
Will needs to be allowed to feel like a man.
So, Louisa began appearing in the library frequently, studying travel advice and experiences for people with disabilities. This time, she not only wanted to help Will fulfill his wishes, but also believed the trip could be a form of emotional healing, and perhaps the last chance to make Will abandon the idea of euthanasia. Soon, they set off on their journey, but the moment they got off the car, the wheelchair wheels got stuck in the mud. No matter how hard she and the doctor pushed, the wheelchair moved with extreme difficulty. At that moment, an awkward expression had already appeared on Will's face, but Louisa didn't notice at all, and she even shouted loudly in the crowd for help. This scene only made the extremely prideful Will feel more humiliated. Fortunately, with everyone's help, he was finally pushed out of the muddy pit. Then they arrived at the horse track. Louisa promised confidently that horse number 3 would win, but Will disagreed. As soon as the race started, horse number 3 refused to move at all, as if it were on strike. Facing Will's accurate prediction, Louisa could only admit defeat. Then they planned to have lunch, but found out the restaurant only admitted top-tier members. Louisa forced herself to plead with the waiter for an exception. But not only did the waiter refuse, she even openly told them to go eat fast food on the street.
Let's go.
No, this is nuts. We'll come all this way.
Louisa stormed off angrily after throwing a few harsh words, and this behavior made Will feel even more embarrassed. So the second time they went out, Louisa deliberately catered to his taste and pulled out a ticket to a concert. To attend the event, Louisa dressed up carefully, and her beauty stunned Will. But while waiting for the show to begin, the tag on Will's clothes was scratching him uncomfortably. And despite everyone's strange looks, Louisa actually tried to bite off the tag with her teeth.
Got it. It'd just be great if it wasn't in your trousers.
When the music began, Louisa was completely immersed, as this was her first time attending such a grand concert. Meanwhile, Will's gaze never left Louisa. After the performance ended, Will was reluctant to get out of the car.
Wait a minute, I don't want to go in yet. I just want to be a man who's been to a concert with people undressed. Just a few minutes more.
The two of them just sat quietly in the car, as if only at that moment Will could regain a bit of his dignity as a man. On Louisa's birthday, Will was also invited to her home. The party was already halfway through when Louisa's boyfriend finally showed up. When he saw Louisa gently feeding her boss and even wiping the crumbs off his mouth, he felt very uncomfortable inside. After dinner, everyone presented their prepared birthday gifts. Originally, her boyfriend's gift should have been the most special, but when she opened the box, she found that the necklace was engraved with her boyfriend's own name. Perhaps he liked Louisa, but clearly, he loved himself more. Then came Will's gift. When the delicate blue box was opened, inside was a pair of Louisa's favorite bumblebee tights. Louisa was overjoyed, while her boyfriend felt even more upset. Before leaving, he deliberately wrapped his arm tightly around Louisa in front of Will, as if declaring ownership.
You're a lucky man. She certainly gives a good bed bath.
This deliberate provocation from Will successfully planted a seed of jealousy in Louisa's boyfriend. The wealthy man who was about to undergo euthanasia was invited to attend his ex-girlfriend's wedding. Watching her in a wedding dress, Will couldn't help feeling a trace of sadness in his heart. If it hadn't been for that accident, perhaps everything would have ended differently. When the ball began, Louisa sat directly on Will's lap in front of everyone, and the two of them spun in the center of the dance floor. At that moment, they looked just like real lovers.
There's something, Clark. You are pretty much the only thing that makes me want to get up in the morning.
Then let's go somewhere. Anywhere in the world, just you and me. What do you say?
Okay.
They originally thought they could follow the plan and go on their trip, but when they woke up the next day, Will had caught a cold and developed pneumonia. With his special physical condition, even the smallest infection could turn into a disaster. Louisa called Will softly, but Will barely had the strength to respond. In that moment, she finally realized that Will's body was even more fragile than she had imagined. Even the doctor who had taken care of him for 2 years said that during these 2 years, Will had been fighting pain constantly. He often dreamed that he could still run, still ski, but every time he woke up and saw the paralyzed legs lying there, reality would drag him back into the abyss again. Everyone hoped he would continue living, but only if he wanted to. Yet Louisa still couldn't accept Will's choice, so she planned to take him on another mysterious trip once he recovered a little. But Louisa's boyfriend strongly opposed it, thinking that her concern had already gone far beyond the boundaries of her job.
But he needs me. Why not? I'm sorry.
Soon they set out again, and their destination was the beautiful Hawaii. Louisa hoped this relaxed and carefree atmosphere could make Will reconsider his decision about euthanasia. She accompanied Will as they felt the gentle sea breeze, bathed in warm sunlight, and enjoyed the rare peace together. At night, a heavy rain suddenly fell, but Will didn't want to close the doors or windows. At this moment, he cherished every second of being embraced by nature. Louisa wanted to tidy up his bedding before leaving, but Will wanted her to stay. Though it was stormy outside, the hidden affection inside had already begun to quietly rise. The next day, at Will's suggestion, Louisa tried diving for the first time, and she never expected it to be such a wonderful experience. This trip, rather than her taking Will to relax, was more like Will taking her to see a bigger world. Happiness is always short-lived. That night, Louisa danced by the sea, and her clumsy steps made Will laugh. In that moment, Louisa was certain that Will would no longer give up on life. She tried to persuade Will once more.
I have to tell you something.
I know about this. Listen, I know this is not how we would have chosen it. What?
I get that this could be a good life, but it's not my life. I can't be the kind of man who just accepts this.
She said, because of you, I've become a different person these past 6 months. But it was precisely because of this that Will didn't want to burden Louisa, and didn't want to become a weight on anyone. His decision still hadn't changed. The next day, they set off on their return journey, and the once smiling Louisa didn't say a single word the entire way back. Seeing the relaxed expression on their son's face, his parents thought Will had finally decided to keep living, and his father excitedly invited Louisa to stay for dinner. But Louisa was already heartbroken and quietly turned away. Only then did they realize that the result was not what they had hoped for. After returning home, Louisa's sister took one look at her expression and instantly knew what had happened, because she understood better than anyone how much Louisa had given over the past 6 months. Being unable to change Will's decision threw Louisa into endless sorrow. Her father comforted her.
You can't change who people are.
And what can you do?
You love them.
Dad, have I made a huge mistake?
And so, with a heavy heart, Louisa set off on the journey to say goodbye to the man she loved. This was also Will's final wish for her. When she gathered her courage and knocked on the door, she was surprised to find that everyone was not as grief-stricken as she imagined. Perhaps in such a moment, only facing it calmly is true love. Louisa opened the door, and sunlight fell onto Will's face. Louisa leaned against Will's chest, feeling his heartbeat and his warmth, unable to say a single word. And Will softly sang the nursery rhyme that Louisa once hummed. During these days, everything about Louisa had already settled into Will's heart. To him, perhaps choosing this path was the best for both her and himself. As the seasons changed, spring passed and autumn arrived, and that once bright green leaf, after the passage of time, would eventually turn golden and finally fall with the wind, just like Will. And Louisa, carrying Will's unfulfilled dreams, arrived in Paris, the place he had longed for the most. There, she received the final letter Will had left for her.
Clark, there are a few things I wanted to say and couldn't because you would have got all emotional and you wouldn't let me finish. So, here it is. When you get back home, Michael Lawler will give you access to a bank account that contains enough to give you a new beginning. Don't start panicking. It's not enough for you to sit around for the rest of your life, but it should buy you your freedom. At least from that little town we both call home. Live boldly, Clark. Wear those stripy legs with pride. Knowing you still have possibilities is a luxury. Knowing I might have given them to you has eased something for me. You are scored on my heart, Clark. Don't think of me too often. And when you're getting sad, just live well.